Time flies, huh? Hard to believe we're already on to week 11. And look, this is the time of the season where things get real. We're starting to see these NFL teams just give the ball, to their best running backs and make sure those guys are getting the work. Travion Henderson has finally become the guy there. Rico Dowdle in Carolina. The list goes on.
You must not have watched the Falcons game Sunday morning.
Well, all right. Things aren't always that easy, but look, let's go through every game, go through all the running backs that matter. We're going to tell you who should be in your lineup. This week, there are two teams on bye. It's going to be the Colts and the Saints. Let's start with those must-start running backs. If you got them, you still just start, no questions asked. That includes Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon Achane, Josh Jacobs, James Cook. Before we break down those matchups, don't forget, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. We greatly appreciate everyone who's already done so, but if you haven't, take a second, help us get to our goal. We're trying to get to 100K before the season ends. All right, let's kick things off with the Jets and the Patriots. One of those backfields I just mentioned with Travion Henderson. But first, let's talk the Jets side. Breece Hall. This has been a tricky one because we didn't know if he was going to still be a Jet, and then we had a tough matchup for him last week. Sort of mixed results, right? He wasn't great as a runner, but he did come through with a big play. What do you make of him against this pretty tough Pats run defense?
Yeah, that's the thing. This is going to be one of the toughest calls. I would say the toughest call of the week, but we only have to make the call by Thursday. Thankfully, we don't have to, make this call all week long. But on the one hand, we know the Jets want to just give him the ball as much as possible, hide Justin Fields as much as possible. But on the other hand, we just saw Sean Tucker become the first running back to even go over 50 yards versus this defense. And they have faced guys like James Cook, Bijan Robinson, Devon Achane, Rico Dowdle, Ashton Genty, and Quinshon Judkins. Like, they have shut down great running backs this year. Not to mention 70% of his runs are those zone runs. And the Patriots are the toughest against those zone runs. So, look, he's getting the volume. He's got that big playability. It's risky this week. I'm going to say solid, but like risky, low-end solid.
Yeah, I'm right there with you because, again, this Pats team, look, all the credit in the world to Drake May. He's been great, but this is a Mike Vrabel team. They're winning because their defense first and then Drake May. And a lot of that's that run defense. But you look, Breece Hall last week had just as tough a matchup. That Cleveland run defense had been even better than New England up until recently. So I think it's kind of the same thing, right? Don't expect great results, but he can always take it to the house like he did on that catch last week. So risky solid. All right, what about Travion Henderson here? We knew that he was going to be the guy since Ramondre was out the week before. But now I think we can officially call this his breakout game, right? I mean, does this mean the floodgates just open?
Well, let's hope so. I mean, that was definitely his breakout game. But the Jets, even without Quentin Williams, they did a pretty good job against Judkins last week. But we know this guy, I mean, he really had like 3 good runs. They just were huge home runs, and that's what he can do. And that's why you like him in fantasy. So I think even if Ramondre somehow plays, I still got to say he's solid. And then if Ramondre does come back this week, which is probably unlikely on a short week, nothing more than a risky flex.
Wow, well, I'm not expecting Ramondre to play. If so, I'm not risking it. Travion Henderson has now shown he can be relied on. He's going to get the carries, and he's got that big playability like Breece Hall, except he's not going against his own defense. He's going against the Jets defense. They're going to be running ahead this game. Look, maybe I'm going a little far here, but if I have Henderson, I'm keeping in my lineup. I'm going to go strong. The Commanders are going to take on the Dolphins this week. Devon Achane continues to prove why he is a no-doubt must-start. And the Washington backfield continues to prove that you should just not trust anybody there. Agree?
Yeah, this is a little tricky, though, because apparently late in that game, Chris Rodriguez suffered a shoulder injury, or at least in the second half, and then we did see Bill start to get more carries, although he was still terrible, and he's been pretty terrible. But how good can we really feel here? I know people are going to see Dolphins, be like, Dolphins, you got to start them. It's the Dolphins. But the Dolphins, I've been saying it for a couple weeks now. Like, they're not terrible against the run anymore. I'm not starting Bill. And if Chris Rodriguez somehow does play, risky flex because at least he has a chance to score.
Yeah, like getting all the touches, that's not the issue here. Bill's had his chances. Even against the Dolphins, I just can't do it. There's no upside. I'm sitting. And as far as Chris Rodriguez, like maybe you could flex him if you're desperate because he could score. We got plenty more matchups to break down. First, I need to remind you that In addition to getting your fantasy lineup set, put your picks in on Underdog. And if you haven't tried it yet, well, you get a new customer special. If you sign up using code ENDGAME for the first time on Underdog, you get this gimme. It's Drake May just getting a yard. That's for new customers. Also, as soon as you play $5, you get $100 in bonus funds added to your account on top of the deposit match. More bonus funds. Use code ENDGAME and try Underdog now. All right, now let's talk Packers at Giants. Josh Jacobs, you don't question. I have questions about this Giants backfield. Like, honestly, it was looking like we just didn't want any part of anything to do with them. And then they kind of picked it up late in the game. But now, like, all sorts of chaos here. Like, first of all, Jackson Dart was out. Russell Wilson was back. And now all of a sudden, Brian Daboll is out. How does this affect the running game?
Well, I don't know if it affects the running game. I think if Russ plays, it might affect the running game a little bit. But how good can we feel about these guys? Okay, Tyron Tracy kind of was technically the lead back again, but Singletary still had the better fantasy game. Singletary still the guy getting the chances to score here. Can't feel good about either of these guys. Tough matchup. I'm just going to say both flexes, and I can't say I really love either one.
Definitely don't love anything about this offense at the moment, especially if Dart misses. Both flexes because you know they're going to get at least some opportunities. This is really feeling a little bit desperate already, though. But we don't even know who's the lead back here anymore. So both are desperate flexes.
Do you want to get advice from Pierre and myself at the tip of your fingertips? Start, sit, waiver wire, trades, and more? Well, you can do all of this and more on our new app, Draft Lane. We have the ability to view your roster, waivers, and more to give you the right feedback to make the perfect choice. Download Draft Lane from the App Store or Google Play, or use these handy QR codes. And first-time users can use code ENDGAME to get 10 free credits and get your questions answered today.
All right, now we have Texans at Titans. This is a rematch from earlier in the season. So, I talked about Woody Marks in the waiver wire video. The question is he now the lead back for Houston, or is this just going to be another trick like before where he had a game, it looked like he was the guy, and then Chubb just reemerges?
Well, we don't know. And look, this certainly could be a trap like it was last time, but I want to find out against a bottom 5 run defense like the Titans. Like, if Woody Marks gets the usage he got last week, he should be great this week. I'm going to call Woody Marks solid, and for that reason, I'm not starting Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I wouldn't even think about Nick Chubb anyways. But here's the thing with Marks. Yeah, sure, it could fall back to before in a split of some sort. Apparently, Chubb was banged up a little bit last week. But that one game earlier in the season, I already talked about this, where he had that big supposed breakout. It was against the Titans. And yes, the Titans are still one of the worst teams in the league. Let's find out. Let's say Marks, don't go crazy, but I think he should be solid. Then this should be easy. The Titans backfield, whether it's Pollard or Spears, probably don't want to find out.
No, definitely do not want to find out. Against this Texans defense, in this offense, no thanks.
The Panthers taking on the Falcons. This is another rematch. Look, you might be frustrated. Are you seriously sitting Bijan Robinson? No, you're not. He's still a must start. What about Rico Dowdle? I mean, a lot of people are thinking these days, like, why would I even think of benching him?
I don't know why you would think of benching him. Look, he wasn't a monster this past week, but he still was very good, scored another touchdown. He's an absolute workhorse here. Jonathan Taylor just absolutely destroyed this Falcons defense. Now, I know he's no Jonathan Taylor, and this isn't the Colts offensive line, but he's going to get so much volume. He's got to be a strong start.
Exactly. This Falcons defense has been, let's just say, inconsistent, to say the least. And Rico Dowdle has just proved, man, just give him the ball, he is just going to eat this entire year. I don't even know if the matchup matters at this point. He's got to be a strong start. And we should ask about Tyler Algier. I mean, more than just an annoyance to Bijan owners, but he's scored a pair of touchdowns. He's getting the goal line carries instead of Bijan. And this Panthers defense isn't too scary. Where do you put him?
No, Panthers defense not too scary, but this actually, unlike Woody, this does feel like a trap. Like, let's go chase Tyler Algier's 2 touchdowns on 11 carries last week, and then he gets 6 carries, no touchdowns, and you're like, what have I done? I'm not starting Algier.
Well, no, I don't expect anything like last week, and you can't count on touchdowns. Apparently, he's always going to have touchdown potential because for whatever reason, they put Algier over Bijan near the goal line. And again, this defense isn't too bad. If I can consider flexing a Giants running back, I could at least consider flexing Algier if I'm desperate. Bears at Vikings. These are 2 teams that already met back in week 1. And so let's see how things have changed here. Let's talk about the new split, because back in week 1, Kyle Monangai was not a factor, and now he is. So between Swift and Monangai, who do you like better?
You got to like Swift better. He dominated the touches last week, 18-7. He got the goal line work. It was kind of frustrating that Monangai scored. I mean, I guess it was good if you started Monangai that he scored. But look, Monangai only 39% of the snaps, only 7 total touches last week. I'm going to say Monangai back to just being a risky flex. Feels very touchdown or bust again. I feel good about Swift this week against the Vikings. Vikings not strong against the run. I think he's solid.
Yeah, keep in mind, it was back and forth every day. We didn't know, was Swift going to play? Is he not going to play? I mean, I think if he just has a consistent week of practice and there's no issues that crop up, he should be solid. And then Monangai, I agree. I think he's more the 1B, not, splitting time here with Swift anymore. He's still flex worthy, though. And then on the Vikings side, again, this looked like it was going to be a pretty much split, shared backfield. Hasn't been that way recently. Aaron Jones has pretty much recaptured the lead role here. But what do you think he does against the Bears?
You got to feel good. I mean, the Bears defense, I feel like it's like the run defense. I feel like the whole defense has maybe gotten a little bit better recently, but it still doesn't scare me. Aaron Jones has looked pretty good. He's dominating the backfield. Very, very solid start. Like one of my favorite solid starts this week. And for that reason, you cannot start Jordan Mason. He's not even getting the goal line work anymore. Like, cannot start him.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of odd that Mason just faded completely here. But he has, so you can't consider it. You know he's not going to make up for it as a pass catcher. Aaron Jones, again, has to be solid. He didn't quite own the Bears like he had been in the past in week 1. But then again, he's looking better. He's getting more of the backfield share. So I think solid is fair. Now we got Chargers at the Jaguars. All right, so Kamani Vidal back to looking good. I mean, they were running ahead most of that game, so that helped. Do you think that will be the case in Jacksonville?
Oh, I definitely think they'll be running from ahead. It's been weird. Like, Vidal has alternated great games with terrible games so far. So by that logic, this should be a terrible game. And the Jaguars are a very good run defense. But that being said, he gets all the volume. He catches enough passes. He has touchdown upside. He's got to be solid.
Yeah, and volume, I mean, he basically is a bell cow here. There's nobody threatening his touches. Could always score. And so he seems very solid here. And I feel like we could say all those same things for Travis Etienne. Tuden hasn't even been a factor lately. Etienne gets most of the touches. He could always score. This matchup isn't great, but it's good enough.
Exactly. These guys almost feel very similar this week, except I feel like Etienne gives you more of that, like, big play and pass catching. So between the two, I would prefer Etienne, but it's not a great matchup, but he's the absolute workhorse. Since the bye, he's been the absolute workhorse. He can always score. He catches passes. He's also got to be solid.
Next, let's talk Bucs at Bills. James Cook, keep him in your lineup. Bucky Irving, it would be nice to see him in the lineup, but once again, we don't see any sign that he's ready to come back. What if it does happen this week? What does that mean for him, Rachaad White, or even Sean Tucker?
Well, I really doubt we're going to see Bucky this week. It didn't even seem like he was close last week. But in the event that maybe he does start practicing on Wednesday and isn't on the injury report, good to go, I got to say he's at least solid. The Bills are not a great run defense. So, look, I do have worries that maybe we see more of a committee than we want to see, because we've kind of seen more of a committee with Rachaad White and Sean Tucker. But I think if Bucky plays, he's solid. I'll say if Bucky is out between Rachaad White, Sean Tucker, both just flexes, I'd prefer Rachaad White because he is the pass catching back and they may be throwing a lot in this game, but these guys are only flexes if Bucky is out.
If Bucky is playing, I'm still going to be nervous here. Like you said, they're probably going to ease him back. They're going to use White some, maybe even Tucker some. I don't know if game script's going to favor them here. I have been burned too many times, especially this year, by putting a guy just coming off an injury, putting him back in the lineup, and then he goes out. Hello, Garrett Wilson. I don't know. I need to see it. I need to see him fully healthy and playing a full game. So even if Bucky plays, I would probably sit him. And then, Rachaad White, I think either way, I think is just a flex. All right, now Bengals at the Steelers. So Cincy coming off of their bye week, you got Chase Brown. He's pretty much just taking over that backfield again. He's actually been doing well since Joe Flacco has taken over. So where does he rank?
He's a strong start for me this week, no doubt. I don't see how you don't start Chase Brown. You look at it, with P. Ryan out with that ankle injury that probably going to keep him out again this week. He was absolutely dominated this backfield touches. The last time he played the Steelers, he had 108 rushing yards on only 11 carries. That Steelers defense didn't look a whole lot better to me on Sunday night against the Chargers. I'm going to go strong start.
I'm not quite there yet. I think he's very solid. Again, getting the touches, everything we were hoping for, which made him, a second-round pick in the preseason. I mean, look, he's finally starting to live up to that. But I think just solid for now. And then Jaylen Warren, well, kind of the same thing here. I mean, I know the Bengals are the worst run defense in the league, but you can't say that he's up there with those elite backs, can you?
Why not? It's the Bengals. The last time they played, he had 158 total yards. The Bengals are allowing 7 more fantasy points per game than any other defense to running backs. He looks good. He was good on Sunday night. He didn't score. He didn't have a big game, but he gives you yards. He catches passes. Yeah, he's a strong start for me.
All right. Well, I've always been a little lower on Warren. This game, hopefully it's a shootout like it was before. If so, plenty of upside. I'll just say high-end solid. All right, 49ers taking on the Cardinals. CMC on the San Francisco side. And who on the Arizona side? Could Trey Benson actually play this week? If not, you got Bam Knight, Amari Demercado. I don't know, maybe Michael Carter makes a cameo. What's going on here?
Well, I'll say if this is the week where Trey Benson returns, just a flex for me. This is a really good matchup right now. The 49ers defense, it's just decimated. It's decimated right now. But how healthy will he be? What is his role really going to be? I can't say anything more than a flex. And then I'll say between Bam Knight, Demercado probably the guy I want. Technically, Bam Knight got more touches, but we've seen Demercado. He's the one that has that big playability, the pass catching, but just a risky flex, and only if Benson is out.
Yeah, I'm not too enthused here. If Trey Benson plays, that would be nice. I can't go more than a flex. A lot of the same reasons I already mentioned with Bucky. I can't get too excited just to plug and play Benson. So he's an option. I don't really want to think about the rest of the Arizona backfield here. Even Demercado, I just don't think there's enough meat on the bone. Next up, we got the Seahawks taking on the Rams. Well, doesn't seem like anything's changed in Seattle. It is still Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet taking turns aggravating you. Does anything change this week?
Doubtful. Why would it change? This is a brutal spot. Rams defense has been really good against the run. Look, Charbonnet could always score. Kenneth Walker may never score a touchdown the rest of his life at this point. These guys are just both risky flexes for me.
Just flexes for a floor. And I don't like to put in a guy just because he'll probably give me 5 or 6 points. I'd rather just take a chance somewhere else, especially with Walker. He's not going to score a touchdown because they're going to pull him near the goal line. It's why bother? Barely a flex. Now, on the other hand, you have Kyren Williams, who has a chance to score at least a touchdown every game. But this is a tougher spot for him.
This is definitely a tougher spot. And look, if you're worried, I see some people worried about Corum. Corum and Kyren, their carries are almost the same the last few weeks. It's okay, you're right. But in the first half, and I talked about this on the buy low video, it's been all Kyren Williams. They've just blown out 3 straight opponents, and late in the game, Corum's coming in. Don't fall for this people freaking out on Twitter about Kyren. But that being said, this is a tough matchup against the Seahawks. This should be a close game. I don't think the Rams are going to be able to blow the Seahawks out. This feels like a very close divisional game here to me. So I think we're going to see Kyren getting the bulk of the work all game long. Always has a chance to score. He's solid.
Yeah, definitely doesn't feel like this should be a blowout. But again, it's definitely a tougher matchup for the Rams here. Seahawks are still one of the better run defenses in the league. But you can't really put Kyren even lower than the solid tier. So that's where I'll slot him. Right now, a very tough divisional game between the Chiefs at the Broncos. These teams now, when you think of them, you probably think defense first, or at least you should. So what does it mean for the running game? The Chiefs, again, still sort of a mess. Is Pacheco going to play? Kareem Hunt is always there, lurking. I guess Brashard Smith might get touches. I don't know.
Yeah, no to Brashard Smith here. Look, if Isaiah Pacheco plays, how good can we really feel? Against the Broncos, gets vultured by Kareem Hunt. He almost feels like Kenneth Walker here, right? So I guess a risky flex, and then I'll say Kareem Hunt. Whether Pacheco plays or not, obviously I prefer Kareem Hunt if Pacheco doesn't play, but he at least has touchdown upside, so also a risky flex.
On the road against Denver, I really just want to say a flat out no to all of these guys. I'll only throw Hunt as a flex option because if someone scores a short touchdown, it's going to be him. Now for the Broncos, this could be interesting. Like J.K. Dobbins, as of right now, we don't know what's going on. He had that foot injury back on Thursday. Still looking for another opinion. So, I feel like there's a good chance that he is either out or limited. If so, and he does play, well, what does that mean? And if he doesn't, is it time to fire up Harvey?
Well, I think if he doesn't play, you could definitely consider Harvey. This is not a great spot against the Chiefs, but they are at home. He does catch passes. We've seen him have that big play touchdown upside. So I will say, if Dobbins is completely out, I will put Harvey in as a strong flex this week just because the matchup is bad. As far as Dobbins goes, even if he plays, is he 100%? And even if he's 100%, look, he's one of those guys that has been like way better in real life than in fantasy. Like in real life, he's been great. In fantasy, he's been kind of okay. So just a flex.
Look, between the injury and this matchup against the Chiefs defense, and like you said, getting sort of vulture near the goal line, I think it's too risky here. I think, especially heading into their bye week, I'm not going to see enough of Dobbins. I'll probably just sit him out here. Now, if he's out and Harvey's the guy, again, I don't love the matchup, but I think he's got to be at least solid. If he's going to get more touches, he could score as well. But I'll just add on to this, because I talked about Harvey in the waiver wire video. It's kind of aggravating because if Dobbins misses, you're like, this could be his chance. But he gets to play the Chiefs defense, and then they're on bye next week. So it's almost like bad timing. Like, why can't J.K. Dobbins get hurt in 2 weeks from now? But anyways, if Harvey's the guy, I still think you've got to feel pretty good. All right, now Ravens at Browns. We've been mentioning Cleveland's still a pretty good run defense, but Derrick Henry is still a pretty good running back.
He is a pretty good running back. Man, was it aggravating seeing Justice Hill get a carry at the 1 and vulture. I'm like, come on, Ravens. What are we doing here? This is a tough defense, but Derrick Henry's good. Game script should certainly be in Derrick Henry's favor this week. I'm going to say solid.
Yeah, we even saw Keaton Mitchell get some carries there. But whatever, it's Derrick Henry. Just because it's a pretty tough matchup, will only go solid. But for the most part, you shouldn't worry if you've got the king. Now, I wonder if you're worried at all about Quinshon Judkins. He's been, again, getting all the carries here. He's been efficient, but actually hasn't really been that efficient lately. So, is it time to drop him down a tier?
Well, I don't know if it's time to drop him down a tier. It's hard to drop. 24 touches last week. It's hard to drop him down. It'd be nice if his offense was better. And look, it'd be nice if the matchup was better too, because you see Ravens, they've been terrible, but look at it since the bye. They have held the Bears, the Dolphins, and the Vikings to under 80 total rushing yards. Not the lead back, the entire running back room to under 80 rushing yards. In this offense, not giving them a ton of chances to score, not really catching a ton of passes, I'm going to have to put him like low-end, risky, solid this week.
Yeah, I don't want to say panic, but just look, since week 5, he hasn't had a single game. Judkins hasn't gone over 4 yards per carry, and he had those 3 touchdowns against Miami, but he hasn't scored in any other game other than that since week 5. So, yeah, I wonder if the league is kind of catching on to him or what. But anyways, he still gets the volume. It's not a bad matchup, but yeah, low and solid. And then Sunday night, we got the Lions against the Eagles here. Jahmyr Gibbs proving again why you just always start him. David Montgomery, he was a little disappointing, man. It was a good spot. Obviously, they were running ahead basically all game. So I really was hoping for better. Does he do any better against this Eagles defense?
Yeah, it feels like it should have been better. Like everything went the way kind of expected, right? Running from ahead against that terrible Commanders defense. But the thing with Montgomery is, you're not banking on him getting 100+ yards, catching a ton of passes. You're banking on him scoring a touchdown. Thought it could happen last week. It didn't. This feels a little riskier here against the Eagles. This defense, which, has gotten healthier and has improved. I'm just going to say Monty a flex this week. Don't love him.
I think he's a little more of a high-end flex. There's plenty of other guys we've thrown out as flex options that I would definitely take Monty over. Again, yeah, on the road against Philly, not a great spot for him. So a flex with potential because he could score. And then we still haven't put Saquon Barkley back as a must start. Gotta wonder, when is that going to happen again? But look, okay, for right here, right now, against the Lions at home, should be good enough.
Yeah, it's still Saquon Barkley. It's not like he's been bad, and it's not like he's not getting volume. It's just he's not been last year's Saquon Barkley. It's Saquon Barkley. I almost don't even care the matchup. You're starting Saquon, high-end, solid start.
I mean, again, not based on the name, right? That all goes out the window once the season starts, not because of who. Yeah, it's Saquon Barkley still, but yeah, he's got upside here. He's going to get the touches. It's a home game. The Lions aren't a shutdown defense. There's really no reason not to start Barkley, but I don't love him this week, so I can't go strong. And Monday Night Football, we got the Cowboys at the Raiders. Classic matchup here. We got two really good running backs who basically own those backfields. To start with, Javonte Williams and the Cowboys coming off their bye week.
Got to feel good about Javonte Williams. I know he had a down game before the bye, had that fumble, but he's been so good this season. Now, the Raiders are not a pushover run defense here. Like, you see Raiders, you just think, yeah, go ahead. But they're also not like an elite run defense that's going to scare me off Javonte. This guy, how do you bench Javonte? He's a strong start.
Yeah, I'll go high-end solid. I mean, he also is a guy I've noticed has been a little less efficient over the last couple weeks. Maybe the week of rest will do him some good. I don't know. The only reason I'm backing down a little bit from saying like all in on Javonte is because the Raiders are one of those teams that just don't get into high-scoring games very often. So maybe not a huge week for Javonte. And the Raiders have Ashton Jeanty. I'm curious, though, because, again, you think Cowboys, you think fire up anybody against that defense. But with all those additions they made before the trade deadline, especially with Quinnen Williams in the defensive line, does this defense actually get better?
We'll see. I mean, there's definitely concern that they might, especially against the run, right? He's the best run stopper in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. So maybe they are, but still, Ashton Jeanty's a good player. He gets the volume. It's still the Cowboys here. Like, I still want to find out. I'm going to say very, very solid start, Ashton Jeanty, this week.
I'm there with you. Very solid. He's involved as a pass catcher. He could always score. He's the guy. Yeah, I think solid is about right. All right, that's it for running back in week 11. We're going to have you covered at all the positions and everything you need to win this week going forward. Just check out the playlist.